Hello everyone, it's Marie and today I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful beaded bracelet. This bracelet is made using the crow technique. First I'll show you how to make these elements, then how to connect them together, and at the end we will make the clasp. Look how wonderful this bracelet looks on the hand. Once you understand the technique and principle of its making, you can make it any width, depending on your taste preferences. If you like this bracelet and want to make the same one, stay with me and we will begin. For making this bracelet I used these 3 colors of Miyuki round beads as main. You can also use Toho round beads or Czech seed beads. Actually it could be any uniform round seed beads. I took these transparent beads as a connecting beads. Also I used Fireline beading threads, beading needles and scissors. You also need a clasp. I used this little magnetic clasp. I bought it a while back and it seems to fit this bracelet really well. And more detailed information about materials that I used you can find in the description below. I'm going to use 6 size beads and black beading threads that you can see I'll making process better. And now I'll show you how to make these elements. The first element consists of 3 crosses, the second of 5, and third and subsequent ones of 7 crosses. I'm going to use 2 colors of beads to make it clear for you. If you are working in this technique for the first time, you can also try it with beads of 2 colors first. And once you understand this technique, you can make a 1 color element. And first we need to pick up 4 beads and then put them down. Leave the short end long enough to tie a couple of knots. Tie several knots, 3 is usually enough. Now we need to thread the short end of the thread into the needle. We will hide it in the beads, tying knots along the way, and then cut off the remaining end of the thread, so that it does not get in the way. Done. Now we can cut this end off. So we're ready to continue. Pass the needle through the next bead and then pick up 3 beads. Now we need to pass the needle through the bead where the thread comes out, but from the opposite side, like this. And this is what we got. Now we need to pass the needle through the next blue bead and then pick up 2 beads. And now we need to pass the needle through the side bead of the first orange cross and through the blue bead from which the thread comes out. Now we need to pass the needle through the next blue bead again and then pick up 2 beads. And again we pass the needle through the side bead of the cross we just made and through the blue bead from which the thread comes out. Now we need to pass the needle through the last unused blue bead and through the side bead of our very first orange cross, and then pick up just one bead. Look, the sides of our element formed naturally. After we have picked up one bead, we need to pass the needle through the side orange bead of the first cross, then through the blue bead, and then through the side bead of the very first cross. That's it, the first column is ready. Now we need to pass the needle through all these beads on top to secure them. The first column is completely ready. Further actions will always be repeated. The first step is that we need to pick up 3 beads and go through the bead from which the thread comes out, but on the other side. Then we need to pass the needle through the next bead. The second step, we take 2 beads and pass the needle through the side bead of the first cross, then through the bead from which the thread comes out. And again we pass the needle through the next bead. The third step, we need to pick up 2 beads and pass the needle through the side bead of the second cross and through the bead from which the thread comes out. Now we need to pass the needle through the next bead and through the side bead of the very first cross. The fourth step, we pick up 1 bead and pass the needle through the side bead of the first cross, then through the orange bead below, and then through the side bead of the very first cross. And the final step is to pass the needle through all the beads at the top to better secure them. Now we have an element with 2 crosses at its base. For the first element of the bracelet we need to make 3 crosses. Therefore, let's continue and we need to repeat the previous steps. This is what our first element will look like. If I were making it now, I would stop, secure the thread by tying a couple of knots and cut off the remaining end of the thread. I'll show you how to secure the threads a little later. But now I'll show you what an element of 5 crosses will look like. Now we have 4 crosses, so let's continue. So the element of 5 crosses is ready. It will be the second and penultimate one in the bracelet. Now we will make an element of 7 crosses, the widest in the bracelet. The bracelet mainly consists of these elements, and once it's ready, I'll show you how to finish working on these elements. So the element of 7 crosses is ready. Now I'll show you how to complete it. First, let's go through all the beads at the top to better secure them. Now we will hide the thread in the beads, tying knots along the way. 2 or 3 knots will be enough, and then we cut off the remaining end of the thread. So the element is ready, and I showed you what elements consisting of 3, 5 and 7 crosses look like. Next, I will show you how to connect these elements together into a bracelet. I made 3 samples consisting of 3, 5 and 7 crosses. Now I will show you how to connect them together. The connection will only be visible on the reverse side of the bracelet, and it looks like this. So let's get started. First, we need to add a new thread. The process of adding a new thread is similar to the process when we hide the remaining end of the threads. We will pass through the beads with a needle, tying knots along the way. The new thread should come out from here. Now I will thread the short end of the thread into the needle and secure the new thread better, and then cut the short end so that it does not get in the way. So a new thread has been added, and we can begin to connect the elements. Since the first and second element differ in width, we will start connecting to the second element consisting of 5 crosses, not from the first cross, but from the second. This is how it looks in the finished version. We need to pick up one bead at a time and pass the needle through the side beads of the crosses. As a result, we will also get crosses at the connection points. So, let's continue. So we have connected the first 2 parts. This is what it looks like from the front side. And now I will show you how to attach the next element, consisting of 7 crosses. Before we start joining, we need to move the working thread to another column. The thread has been moved and we are ready to continue. So we've added one more element. The fourth and subsequent elements will be added in the same way. Now I'll quickly show you the joining process again, but this time on elements of the same width. So I have attached one more element. Then we will need to move the thread and continue the connection in the same way. You need to attach one element after another until the bracelet reaches the length you need. Next, we make the end of the bracelet in exactly the same way as its beginning. That is, we first attach an element with 5 crosses, and the very last one will be an element with 3 crosses at the base. So continue in the same way until the bracelet reaches the length you want. And next I'll show you how to sew on clasp. Now I'll show you how to sew a clasp. Here is the front side of my bracelet, and the thread should come out from here, from this bead. And first we need to pick up 3 beads. And now we pass the needle through the bead from which the thread comes out, but on the other side, as we did earlier. Next, we pass the needle through the next bead and then pick up 2 beads. Now we need to pass the needle through the side bead of the first cross and through the bead from which the thread comes out. Turns out that the place where our clasp is attached will be invisible on the front side of the bracelet. Turn the bracelet over and continue. We pass the needle through the next bead and again pick up 2 beads. Now we need to pass the needle through the side bead of the second cross and through the bead from which the thread comes out. And we pass the needle through the last unused bead at the base and through the side bead of the first cross. And now look, instead of the last bead here, we will sew a clasp. This is how it will be located here. Next, we need to pass the needle through all these beads and clasp, but more times to better secure the clasp. Of course, among such large beads, this clasp gets lost, but with size 11 and 10 beads it looks just great. And you definitely need to secure everything on top. After the clasp is attached, we can hide the end of the thread in the beads. Tie knots along the way as we did earlier. Then the remaining end of the thread can be cut off. So this side is complete. On the other side, the clasp is attached in exactly the same way. Once the clasp on both sides are attached, your bracelet is ready. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I tried to make it as detailed and understandable as possible. Thank you for being with me. I wish you success in your creativity and see you in new videos.